Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationship Sunday night at 9. I am your host, Coach Glenda, here with course manager and co-host Rufus Carpenter. As most of you know, Rufus and I have created this forum where you can discuss trials and triumphs and past and present relationships. We encourage everyone to share, speak their truth, and talk as much or as little as they would like. And just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. We are asking that everyone mute their devices until they're ready to speak to avoid any background noise, as well as let's be respectful and allow everyone to speak their truth and comment wherever they can. And without further ado, I will allow Mr. Carpenter to tell you a little bit about his background.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Like you said, I'm Rufus Carpenter. I'm the manager here on this, and my background is a little different than most. My background is military as well as civilian. Okay, but tonight, what I want to do is make sure you understand that the container tonight here, Sunday night at 9, the container is where you and 20 of your girlfriends are in your living room, and then while you're in the living room, you guys are talking about relationships. And since it's in your living room and the kids are in bed and you got 20 of your girlfriends right there with you, somebody might decide to want to have a glass of wine and really relax and get into the mood. And what normally we have a relationship topic, and we have a relationship topic tonight, but you can talk about anything you want to talk about. You can talk about whatever you're going through now, your breakthroughs, as well as your opportunities. The reason why that's important because your sister girl right beside you might be going through the same thing. Is she just might be able to address her situation up a little better than yours, but on the inside, she could be tore up. And just hearing you say what you went through and how you survived and how that became a breakthrough for you may be encouraging for her because she might say, if you can do it, I can do it. And that's why it's important that we come together as a community and share our stories and empower each other. Okay, Glenda?
All right. Okay, tonight's topic, love and toxicity when
Toxicity.
toxicity when when they sex you up and tear you down. Recognizing recognizing and breaking toxic relationship cycles. All right. Love should lift us, not leave us emotionally wrecked. Yet many Black women, married and unmarried, find themselves in relationships that start with passion and end in pain. These toxic cycles can be hard to recognize, especially when physical intimacy clouds emotional damage. This session explores how to identify toxic patterns, why we stay, and how to break free without losing yourself in the process. Now, I know everybody has a good idea what toxic love is, but just in case you don't, Reset to Healthier Relationships definition of toxic love disguises itself as passion, but it drains your peace and self-worth. It's when our relationship becomes a cycle of temporary highs, intimacy, flattery, attention, followed by emotional confusion, blame, and pain. Sex can be used to cover up wounds instead of healing them. So I just have one quick question before we get started. If you don't want to answer right now, which is perfectly fine, I just want to put it out, in the open right now. Have you ever confused pain for passion? That's the first part of the question. The second part is, what did that cost you emotionally? Now, if anyone wants to answer, feel free. You can take yourself off mute and make a comment. If not, I just want you to think about that. Think about that question as we go through the material this evening. Again, the question is, have you ever confused pain for passion? And the second part of the question is, what did that cost you emotionally? Mr. Carpenter?
Oh, Glenda, what you to open that can of worms up early in the conversation. Because the reason why I say that tonight, I think our audience gonna talk more than you could talk because All of us have been through this. This isn't anything new in our community. This is where it is, because a lot of times, and I'm old. I'm a lot older than you, Glenda. So when I came up, I saw my mother and father fight every Friday and Saturday, because my dad would come home after working a full week with no money. And my mom said, "Hey, how are we gonna pay these bills?" And my dad would jump on her instead of trying to figure out paying the bills. And we as kids, we saw that. And as long as it didn't get too physical, we just kind of stayed in the bedroom out of the way or cried. But when it got physical, we jumped on my dad's legs and tried to pull him off my mom, and he would kick us down like little rag dolls. And my mom would get him off the floor and try to keep us from getting hurt, and she'd get back into the fray again with my father. So we thought love was pain. We thought that's what it was. We confuse love and pain as being the same thing. You know, like what's Frankie Bella May's joy and pain, sunshine and rain. That's what we thought it was. And you know, I thought, and here's the reason why we thought that, because not only was it going on in our house, it was going on in the house across the street from us, down the street from us, and everybody was doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, in my neighborhood, now your neighborhood might have been a little different, but in my neighborhood, that was the lay of the land. So it took me growing up and getting out on my own and understanding the world to realize this was dysfunctional. This wasn't the way it's supposed to be. And matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm in relationship building and improvement now, because I realized how dysfunctional my family and I was. In my marriage, and I'm gonna start it off by sharing my truth. When I come home late at night or something, my wife used to beat me with a broomstick, and I'm dodging and ducking it because I made a decision that I would never hit a woman. After seeing my father beat my mom up every weekend, I promised myself I will never hit a woman, and I stuck to that. So if my wife would hit me or something like that, I would just fold because I didn't know what to do. You know, and I was a karate black belt, so I could just beat her down. But I didn't do that. So that's my truth. Glenda?
All right. So the next question is why we stay.
Wait, let somebody else might want to jump on that while we're right in this mode here.
Not a problem.
Let's put the kickstand down right here, because this is something we all know something about.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, some of us on this line and may have had it in our own lives, in our own relationships, in our own houses. You know, I'll tell mine because I'm on a hot seat. I'm one of the proctors and one of the coaches here, so I told mine first. I got it out.
My sister was waiting at around the corner.
Now what now?
That was Sharon.
Oh, Sharon. I thought it was Ava. Who was that?
That was not me. That was not me.
That was Ava.
but I talk on the conversation though.
Go ahead.
In my experience with a mate that I was really serious with, when they wanted to fight, I would just go crazy, go ballistic. They thought I was crazy.
So what you're saying, that was a normal event, you guys, but you just beat him to it.
No, it wasn't normal. That's what I'm saying. He's scared to try because he don't know what I'm gonna do.
Okay. so you made him fear for his own self.
Yeah. I had to scare him before he scared me.
Okay.
Well, in my first marriage, she was the provoker. She would jump on me, and I'm like you. I balled up like a turtle until I got tired of it. But instead of lashing out, because as you were, I promised God I'd never hit a female. I have too much strength, and as you were, I was Taekwondo. So I'm like, I can hurt you. So I feel that if I hit you, I'm going to jail. So with that being said, I didn't believe in that. And what happened to make me withstand it and stay in it, like I told y'all before, I believe coming up, but my granddaddy taught us a bad start is a happy ending. So I always looked for that happy ending until I realized that it wasn't going to get happy. And that's how I got out of it. Well, actually, she divorced me and did me the favor. It hurt like hell, but I'm better off.
You know, I would venture to say that 80% of the people on this call tonight has seen it or been a part of it in some form or fashion. I would venture to say that. And go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut a question. Did you want me to talk?
Yeah, if you were talking, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. We paused for you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I experienced this, and I experienced this in my marriage. And when I experienced it before I was married to the man, and it continued into my marriage. But at some point, I associated it like he still loved me. You know, this was sort of like, you know, love. I'm like saying, okay. It took me a long time to realize that I evaluated it against my upbringing. And when I evaluated it against my upbringing, I realized, oh, this got to stop. This is not going to happen anymore. And when I decided that, okay, it's not going to happen anymore, I did things. And then I became afraid of myself because my anger from my upbringing, along with what I was experiencing, got violent in me. And I knew I could do some harm. And I said, this person don't understand what they're really dealing with, because I allowed them to do it and allowed them to have what they thought was control, because I didn't fight back with that. I decided, oh, okay, all right. I wouldn't be who I could be. But when I decided, okay, hold up, this is not going to continue to happen because I can defend myself, it changed. It changed. So yeah, I experienced the toxicity.
Yeah. And that's why, and that's one reason why I wanted to pause right here and get it out. Because I know when I told you guys just again about me getting beat up when I was married, and I told you that, it kind of took the weight off my shoulder because I carried that for a long time. You know, nobody knew that when my doors were shut, I was getting beat up. I was the one. And to get to actually say that, it's not a big thing for me anymore. But when I was carrying it, it was like, what the hell? You know, it was heavy on my back and on my shoulders. And like Annette said, when you see it as a child, it does one or two things. It makes you where you don't want no parts of it, where you won't become that way, or it makes you where you will become that way. It makes you where you're so mad and you have so much anger, so much trauma from seeing it as a child that when it happens to you as an adult, you're ready to kill somebody. And it might be, if they might not have been the person that, they might not be really doing a major event to you or major hurt on you, but just for them to bring that energy towards you, you saying, hey, not here, not this time. And it's something that we have to work through. And a lot of us, you know, we're the generation that either stop it or continue it.
Well, Rufus, I'm gonna tell you like this. It's more than just the physical pain. Because in my first marriage, it was a lot of verbal along with it that made it embarrassing, and you still put that tail between your legs and you understand? It was a lot of verbal. You be out in public, and that's where that control stuff come. Well, you ain't gonna do this, you do this, and you do that, make you look like a wuss, as they say. You know how that is when you're in front of your boys, and then all that happened, and then you like climb up. Oh man, he pussy whip. Or man, I'm sorry, he whipped, or he this, that, and the other. Man, she just run. Oh, he a wuss. But see, with me, I was always like, I know my strength. You understand? But now I'm the opposite because I'm like this now. I'm not gonna be in it. because my cup, when it run over, I'm gonna be like Medea. I cook, so my grits stay hot. You understand?
You turned the corner on me. That one.
Yeah,
You
I
turned
ain't
the
turning the
corner.
corner. I'm just telling
Yes,
you.
you did.
My grits stay hot. So the best thing for me to do when that flag come up, turn and go the other way. You know, because like they say, when your cup runneth over, you don't know what you're gonna do. And then it's like being a cat against the wall. When you're back up against that wall, you coming off that wall.
Yeah.
So instead of putting yourself in that position, when that happens, hey, it's time to move on. That's why them red flags. That's why I thank God that I'm mature, love myself, and I don't put myself in that position
Right.
no
more.
You know, I appreciate you speaking up, Bo. I appreciate you speaking up so much because for a long time I thought it was just the opposite. I thought the males were the ones that beating up females. So when I got beat up, I thought it was like, oh man, I really can't tell nobody this. They really think I'm weak. But to hear him say it now lets me know that it was both. Either sex could be a part of that. So to know that it happened to him, it happened to me on this line, me and him, we didn't rehearse and talk about this and say what's coming up tonight. I never heard him say that. So to hear him say that now, and the same thing I experienced, and he went through some of the same stuff I went through with it. It's like this is bigger than I thought.
That's why you give God thanks to everything. And you have to be mindful to speak up, because when you give thanks to everything, when you think your situation bad, you talk to somebody else and you be like, damn, man, mine's a piece of cake. And I thought I was going through something.
Right.
You understand? But yeah, man, you'll be amazed at how many guys that done got they butt whooped, but never mention it because they don't want to lose that machoism, that manhood out in the public. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they get their butt beat just as I did. And it got to the point so bad where all I could do is grab her and just hold her.
Mm.
Never hit her, but I grab her ass and hold her. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, when it gets that bad, you need to move on, because one day in that grabbing, something else is going to happen. You understand? So I always distance myself. That's why, if you notice, and I ain't scared to tell you, I used to stay at the McDonald's in Vienna. I used to live out there. In my relationship towards the end, I go to McDonald's, stay out there the whole day and close it. And sometimes I don't even close it. I'll just stay out there while they open. When I come home, I'm so damn tired and sleepy. All I do is take a shower and I'll go straight to bed because I don't want to deal with it.
Mm.
You understand? But that's just my truth. And Rufus, you ain't by yourself. Talk to somebody. They'll tell you. You got to express and mention it.
Because see, you said you could leave the house and go to McDonald's. I couldn't go to McDonald's. I couldn't leave the house.
No, you might could have went to the other side of the street though.
No.
Shit, I'm gonna tell you. Me personally, I had to go somewhere, because if I would have stayed there, it probably would have escalated more than what it was. You understand?
Right.
And I don't like putting myself in that position. Right. Just as if you tell me to go to your house, I ain't going to your house. There ain't nobody there. I ain't gonna put myself in that position to be accused of stealing something if somebody else steals something. You know I ain't did it, but if I was there, what are they gonna do? Well, Bo did it.
Right.
I saw him there. So if I'm in the house and she beating on me, you understand? Hey, I'm no, I can't do that.
Okay. All right. I appreciate everybody that spoke, because just in this little time we started, we had two ladies and two gentlemen that spoke their truth. So 4 people came out the gate and let you know. So I don't know if you, but I'm healing from this. This man, I don't feel as heavy as I did when this conversation first started. So Glenda, let's move on. Where are we at now? Why do people, I think your question was, why do people stay?
Yes, that was it.
What you got? Waffle ice cream. What's that you trying to show me?
Watermelon cantaloupe, dude. I'm munching out.
Go ahead.
Okay, while we stay, fear of being alone, low self-worth, or trauma bonding, financial dependence, hope they'll change, cultural or family pressure to stick it out.
Do everybody know what trauma bonding is? Do anybody have an idea what that is? Trauma bonding, because she said it and she kept moving beyond it. But anybody know what that is? Anybody have an idea? Can someone help us with that?
Say it again.
Trauma bonding. She said that why people stay in relationships that they've been abused in because of low self-worth and trauma bonding. Trauma bonding.
Well, I tell you what my thoughts on trauma bonding is.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma bonding, say for example, she beat you,
Mm-hmm.
right? She beat me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I stayed in it, or well, I could have stayed in it for the fear of what she could do beyond that. That's the trauma from it.
Okay.
Because if you keep beating me, I'm gonna be scared of hell of you.
Okay.
I'm traumatized now. So that's my take on that. But
All right.
now I'm gonna tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody put in the chat low self-esteem. That's bull in my book. You understand? It could be a low self-esteem figuring that you can't find nobody else, but I don't think it's that. A lot of people stays in it for the sake of looking for love. And that person could have all the qualities in the world of what you're looking for, but then just got that one red flag and it's not on a regular basis.
Can I say something?
Yes, Gigi, go ahead.
Okay. What I've learned in the past, what trauma bonding is when a person is attached to the abuser. They know that they are abusing them and that, they're in pain or whatever, but they love that person so much until they can't let go of them. And they don't know how to break the cycle of the pain and the hurt, but what they're looking for is kindness and affection, and once they get it, that's all good and well, but still they're getting beat the hell out of. Mm-hmm. Am I close?
You got it. You and Miss Kingdom, you got one half of it. He got one half of it.
Well, let me say this real quick.
Both you guys got 1/3 of it. There's another third out there we're looking for. You guys got 2/3 of the answer.
Well, let me add this to it as well.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It also, you remember on Tyler Perry's movie with Janet Jackson and Angela? In that movie, they always argued and fought all the time. Mm-hmm. But then their makeup was the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kept them in there. It seemed like to me, they can't have a good, intimate relationship without the fighting and the hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes that can be the bond right there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That makeup
getting the third part. You getting the third part. Because,
you see what I'm saying?
Because that becomes the norm. That becomes the norm. They get so attached to their craziness. They think that's love as well as the love, actual loving, and that offside. They think that's all the same. They think that that's all one connection. They don't see the difference. They're not able to separate that. They think all of that is part of the relationship. They think that's what makes the relationship unique and special. They think that's the juice, that's the secret sauce of the relationship. That's what they think. So they saying, wow, we have it. Yeah. When John come through, we fight and we raise hell. But John is my man. When he does this to me, ooh, girl, you just don't know. Yeah, she knows you being took. I mean, she knows, trust me, she knows, and she's trying to get you to know. That's what's going on. We've been through it. I mean, I can see where I went through it. I can see when I went through it because I loved my wife so much, and I had seen my dad beat my mom, so I was thinking about my mom in the relationship when my dad beat my mom. I loved my mom so much, and I was a mama's boy. So I saw my mom hurt So I felt like, oh, wow, man, she's going through something. So I'm going to protect the woman. I'm going to really make sure that I don't see anybody else hurt like this again. So me and my wife went through it. I saw, I didn't want her to hurt, but I'm the one getting beat up. But I didn't want her to hurt. So it's unique. It's unique. All right, go ahead, Glenda.
All right, we're gonna jump into some of the examples tonight. We have Jasmine. Jasmine, a married mother of two, stayed in her relationship despite her husband's emotional neglect. The sex was passionate, but she often cried afterwards. He told her she was too sensitive. She began to feel invisible. She finally left when she realized her kids were learning to equate love with pain.
That's a lot right there. Anybody want to break that down? Anybody want to share what they got out of that? And you can share it in the chat, or you can come out and say it. What did you get out of that? What did you get out of Jasmine's story? She was a married lady with two kids, and her husband kind of neglected her or whatever. The other parts in there that we didn't actually read, but it let in there. But what he did, he tied it all together with the passion, with the sex and the passion. And it was good, but she cried because she thought about those other emotions. And when she saw her kids go through it, she said, not my babies. No. I'm gonna protect my babies from having to go through this that I'm going through.
I would like to chime in on this story. I know that when I was married and I was going through with my husband, this was more or less our scenario. And when I saw that it was taking a toll on my boys, I was like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want my sons beaten up or, emotionally neglecting their spouses or their girlfriends. So if I don't find a way out of this, that's going to be my son's future. So when I notice how my kids, they kind of like justify, oh, well, that's just my dad. And I'm like, how can you see and hear the stuff that he says and does to me and think that it's okay? And I knew from that point, even when they were, I won't say they were like preteens or anything like that, but they knew right from wrong because they would see their mother going through and they see the pain and the hurt and the tears. So they knew that I wasn't happy and I was, going through something even at 7 or 8 years old. But I knew at that time that I had to get out of my relationship. I could no longer stay out of trying to keep my family together. And because the church was based on, they don't promote, divorces, I said, regardless of all that, I had to think about my children at the end of the day. And this is not the lifestyle I want my kids to have. So I can relate to Jasmine's story.
Okay. Anybody else want to break down Jasmine's story or comment on Jasmine's story? Okay. Linda, next one.
All right. We have the next example. We have Kia's dream turned nightmare. Kia met a man who seemed like her soulmate. Within 3 months, he moved in. The red flags showed fast: jealousy, isolation from friends, criticism about her looks. But every argument ended with intense makeup sex. It took losing her job, a sense of self, before she reached out for help. Man, that's deep.
Okay, anybody want to chime in on this one? Read it again, Glenda. Read it again, because it's a lot. Right. If y'all don't mind.
Not a problem. Kia's dream turned nightmare. Kia met a man who seemed like her soulmate. But within 3 months, he moved in. The red flags showed fast: jealousy, isolation from friends, criticism about her looks. But every argument ended with intense makeup sex. It took losing her job and sense of self before she reached out for help.
Okay, anybody want to take a stab at this one?
She lost her job.
Anybody want to take a stab at this one?
She should have stayed and let that man been a drive-by.
Okay, that makes sense. What Mr. Kingdom said she was whipped.
She was whipped.
You know what he's talking about.
Oh, got
Yeah.
it, got it. Okay. I
Oh,
was
come on
I'm
now.
slow.
You ain't that old computer. You ain't that old
No.
computer.
Trying to read the text and what I'm doing too. It's kind of, that's what was rough on me.
Yeah, because like I said, you ain't no old computer. You ain't got that much where you that slow.
He can be
It,
dial up at times.
But I'm gonna say this though.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say
Okay.
this. I don't give a who she is. It ain't that doggone good for me to take that. Not especially now with me knowing what I know.
Right.
You understand? Ain't no man that good
Right.
to take that.
Right.
I ain't no
Hold your horses.
nothing.
Hold
I
your
ain't no
horses.
nothing.
Hold your
Really?
horses here, because it started out by saying she felt she met her soulmate. Okay, Dr.
Exactly.
Johnson, like Dr. Johnson was trying to say something. Your mic is not your mic ain't on, Dr. Johnson.
No, I just made the comment she thought. That was a thought.
Right. Right. Actually, the first sentence starts off, Kia met a man who seemed like her soulmate.
Yeah. So within months she moved in. So apparently he had been doing something because she let him move in.
They were getting
Apparently he
down.
moved into her house.
He was using his sex as a weapon.
Exactly.
Here's what the thing is. Here was the thing was, okay? Before he moved in, he was doing everything in his possible that was possible to be done to please her on that level. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And then he would take his butt home. So therefore, excuse me, all she saw was the intimacy part. She didn't see nothing else. So what it takes to get her, he forgot that's what it takes to keep her. He changed when he got in the household. Because once he got in the household, guess what? He feel now he's in control and do what the heck he want to do. And
Because
that's what happened.
because
Because
he was
from
in
my
there.
experience, my son's mom, okay, man, look, I fell in love with that woman right off the rip because we'd be on the phone all times of night or whatever. She's praying, the kids get rowdy, the girl go to praying and say one thing to him, you can hear a pin drop.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
The lady moved in with me. She forgot about all that other stuff. Now she don't chastise the kids. She really don't say nothing to the kids. And that's why I end up letting her go. She switched out on me as well. You understand?
Okay. All
So
right.
I can relate.
Okay. All right. So we've got the soulmate, and then all of a sudden in 3 months was it now that criticized on a look. I think a lot of times a lot of people do that as a norm. I think sometimes we do that because I found myself doing that sometimes. I always promise myself, let me cut this mess out because no one want to be tore down. You think it's something light, but when you say it over and over to the person, the other person begin to say, wait a minute, they begin to ask themselves, question their own self about it. So that's not a good practice. So this is a lot here, and I'm glad that she was able to reach out and get the help. But
I'm
now,
gonna
go ahead. Good, Doctor.
Can I say something? Yeah, when Mr. Kingdom was talking and he mentioned the word intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
So in my thought process, intimacy and being controlled by sex is two different things.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay.
It's two different
I
things.
use the word intimacy as an act,
Right.
as the act of it. Not that it was being controlling. I was using that per se as the act.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What caused the control.
Right.
Okay.
Not saying that I'm disagreeing with what you're saying, but just the thought of the word intimacy brought that to mind. You know,
Right.
intimacy versus being controlled by sex.
Right.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Dr. Johnson. Here's the part that got me. It doesn't say she left. It says she reached out and got help. She still may be in that mess.
I want to know what kind of help she got.
He could
After I lose my job, that's a wrap. I'm cutting you
For
out.
real.
She still is. Where it seems like now she's still in that mess.
Well, it sucks to be her because I couldn't
But
do
now
it.
you got to understand something, though, Rufus.
Mm-hmm.
She might have got outside help where sex wasn't with him all the time. It might have been somewhere else.
I
That
hope
might
it's
be
not
the
you.
help she got.
Okay.
Because once you cross that line, okay, it's just like my daughter. My daughter's been with her husband. That's the only boyfriend she ever had. You understand? And in a case of hers, she don't know nothing else outside other than him.
Right.
Because she never experienced anything. And in that relationship, that might be all she know. So finally, she might have got fed up with it and stepped out once and found something different.
Mm.
And that might have been her help. You understand?
Mm.
It's not, you didn't make it clear enough to understand what kind of help she got.
Now, see, you must have been listening to women talk. When women get together and talk. This is the kind of stuff when women get together, this is what they talk about. They say, girl, if she ever finds somebody else, her husband gone.
No, I ain't gonna say that. No, Rufus, no.
I tell
Take
you
that
what,
back because
ladies,
look, it depends on the
stop, hold up, ladies. If that's true, put true in the chat. If that's true, put true in the chat.
Listen.
Okay.
Listen. She might have stepped out and got something better on that side, but that man might be taking care of a lot of other stuff on the other side. Because see, a lot of females will go over there and get that part, but stay home because of the other perks and bonuses and all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So they can find somebody else to make them go, ooh. But yet and still, they're going to go back home because they more secure at home.
Not all of them.
Not in this scenario, because
let me say this.
He moved in.
But let me say this, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You said not all of them.
Not
but
all
guess
of
what,
them.
Rufus? Guess what?
Uh-huh.
They can go to a broke man, a homeless man, and get sexed up a whole lot better than they can being at home.
You may not.
So what do you want to do?
You may not be used to the women of the day. Women of the day get their own table. Women of the day they feel they don't really need a man.
And guess what? They don't.
Women of the day tell you
really
right quick, I don't need a man.
And they really don't. You know why they don't need a man?
Why?
One, they got a job that pays decent.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they got rose and silver bullets. So what they need them for?
Okay.
So what do they need them for? Seriously.
Lord
have mercy. Hold on, Glenda.
I don't like generics.
Hold on. Glenda.
Yes.
So you had an old computer moment? So you telling me you never heard of a rose or silver bullet?
No, not the way you put it. Then I started to think. I was like, oh.
Hey, Glenda's not a sex therapist. That's not her coaching style. Her coaching style is more of a relationship coach where you tell her where you want to go and she can help you get there.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you know me, Rufus. I used to get those seminars on both parts. So that's where my mind is quick to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that you're a little bit more advanced than she is in that situation. That's not her niche of coaching. Her niche of coaching is you tell her where you're at in your relationship and you where you want to go. And she become the bridge from where you are to where you want to go. That's her style of coaching.
Yeah, mine's was without batteries. I'm sorry.
Say what? Say that again.
Nothing.
I heard you.
let's
I
go
heard
to
you.
number 3.
Details.
Let's go 3 because we want to get through all 4 of these things tonight. Go ahead,
Okay.
number 3.
We have Lataya's loop. Lataya was caught in a 5-year on and off loop with her college boyfriend. He cheated, gaslighted, disappeared, and always returned with gifts and apologies. Her trauma bond kept her hopeful. A therapist helped her to see it was addiction to chaos, not love. Wow.
Okay, dude. Everybody got that, or we need to go through it again? Everybody got it?
You want me to do it one more time?
Yes, do it one more time.
Okay, Latoya was caught in a 5-year on and off loop with her college boyfriend. He cheated, gaslighted, disappeared, and always returned with gifts and apologies. Her trauma bond kept her hopeful. A therapist helped her to see it was an addiction to chaos, not love.
Okay, all right. That part was it disappeared. I think y'all call that ghost. He ghosted her.
Well, I'm gonna speak from experience.
Okay.
In my first marriage, mine would ghost me.
Mm-hmm.
He would traumatize me and do all this, that, and the other. And she would leave and go back to Pittsburgh, where she's from, stay months and get a life, move on. Me, I didn't believe in divorces.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm always looking for that happy ending.
Right.
So every time she'd want to come home, come home. This one time she left and was gone for 8 months.
Ooh.
Baby, you talking about moving on? I moved on. My daughter came to visit me one summer, and the young lady that I was with had a daughter the same age my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, did they have fun. They chilled every day, had fun. All right, now it's time to take my daughter home, back to Pittsburgh. And I did. When I got back to Georgia, my daughter done spilled the beans. Oh, daddy this, Shay this. Because that was the daughter's name, the girl's name.
Mm-hmm.
Shay this. Oh, all the fun she had. That was like on a weekend that I got back home.
Mm-hmm.
That Wednesday, baby, there was a Jeep in my yard. And guess who was sitting in that Jeep?
Who was in that Jeep?
Jeep popped up, talking about coming back home.
Oh, wow.
Made a mistake and let go of what I had started and allowed it back home. Just end up in a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Now I messed up that thing that I had, which was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That won't happen no more. So I can understand that situation, back and forth, because they looking for the happiness, the ultimate, thinking that it'll come. But I'm gonna tell you this. Now, see you.
Okay.
Leave once, ain't no coming back.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on that before we go to the next one? Any other comments on number 3 before we go to 4?
I'm just kind of curious, why would it take her 5 years of going through that? I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, I can see where it takes 5 years or even more.
Glenda.
Yes, sir.
Glenda.
Yes, sir.
First of all, it's just like life itself. When you get caught up in something like that, time flies by before you realize that time has come by. You understand?
Yes, I hear you.
Because that gap, that space, it don't say how long he was gone.
Right.
It don't say how long it took for him to come back. It just said he come back. So whatever they was going through, just because he ghosted her,
Mm-hmm.
they could have still had some form of communication. Whether it's phone every now and then or word through somebody or something, you understand? To
Okay.
allow it, and time just passed by.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to ladies that said they glad he go and come back. He don't stay all the time. They say they get a break. They say wish the other women would keep him. I've heard that story too.
what have you learned? You're just allowing him to, to repeat the cycle.
What is Sharon? What did you say, Sharon? I see you. It's okay. What I didn't understand your code, Sharon.
Well,
You
well,
missed the last word. Bye.
yeah, you missed the last word in the
Okay.
kingdom.
Okay, got it. I didn't make sure.
See ya. Bye.
I know, because when I was in my marriage, out of that almost eight, it was like maybe 30 days from 8 years. So I'm gonna just say 8 years. So out of that 8 year marriage, we separated 7 times. And I had always told myself, because first, the first 6 times it was like for a few months. But then I had made up my mind, because it was taking the children to do this roller coaster thing. Dad's here one day, for maybe 6, 7 months, and then he's gone, for a few months. It was just taking us through this emotional roller coaster. But I had made up my mind that if he was ever gone for a full year, I was filing no divorce. And that 7th time he did it, and I said, oh no. I said, no, I couldn't take it no more. And after that situation, I've never looked back. So and actually I can honestly say I've never experienced that after my marriage, because I don't think I could even tolerate it. I'm like, how do you play with somebody's feelings on again, off again for 5, even for 12 months? I don't know how women and men do it. It doesn't even make sense to me. It's too much that can happen in the separation period.
Glenda,
Yes.
if you're with someone, okay, and everything is good for the moment, then it start getting a little toxic or whatever, and they distance themselves or ghost you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, you going through your vulnerable state, right? Now, all of a sudden you see this guy. Now you have flashbacks of memories. And all it takes is one, boom, second for something to happen between y'all, and you back to where you were as if nothing never happened. That's happened. That's possible. Everybody is not strong to say, hey, see you, bye, and mean it. And mean it. You get caught up in the moment, shit happens, and now you back where you were thinking, oh, it's gonna be good this time. It's gonna be better this time. You fool yourself with that. You understand what I'm saying? So during that break, you became vulnerable. So now when you see him again or see her again or whatever, and it happens again, what you've been missing now is being fulfilled again. So you take another chance. That's what happened. You get caught up in it. You tired of being by yourself.
I hear you loud and
All right,
clear.
let's go to number 4.
Graduated from
So
that
we want
stage.
to get number 4 in.
That's called maturity.
All right. Well, I second maturity for tonight.
Let's get
move
4.
on.
All right, Nina. Okay. We have Nina, the high achiever. Nina was the one who had it all: career, house, style. But behind closed doors, her partner constantly minimized her successes. He said things like, "You think you better than me now." The relationship made her shrink. Once she left, her glow returned literally and spiritually.
Okay. Anybody want to comment on that? I see some head shaking. Anybody want to comment on that one? And the reason why I asked anyone to comment on that, because that's the story today, because we have so many ladies today that are doing some amazing things that the fellas aren't even doing. And the fellas, when they hook up to a high value or high speed or very sharp lady that maybe a little more intelligent, a little more brighter, and is not dumbing herself down. It's actually being the queen that she really is, and being the power and showing her glow and her power. A lot of guys can't handle that. A lot of guys feel they got to control you. So, ladies, talk about that. How do you handle that situation? How do you navigate that relationship? What Sharon say?
Well, they can't.
Okay, because Sharon and Annette started the conversation off when we started talking, and they sound like they were really high speed, sharp women, and feel like they had their own career and they were doing what they need to be doing. So and seemed like seemed like they were tied to men that weren't at the same level, so they're unequally yoked from that what they said there. So so that's this situation right here.
But
So
see,
go ahead, Sharon.
it wasn't that. It's just that I feel like the time we get together, I'm not here to pacify you. I'm not trying to pacify you. I'm not trying to like slow roll it or thinking I'm not gonna say what I want to say to hurt your feelings because being direct, like Kingdom always said, is the best key.
Say that again. The last part.
I said, like Kingdom always said, being direct, being straightforward is the best key.
Yeah, because a lot of ladies will shrink because they feel they don't want to overshadow their husband or the spouse or the significant other. So they want to take that submissive role and they're dumbing themselves down in order to get along and go along in a relationship. So when this one came up, I said, wow, this is awesome because once she left the guy, she got a glow back literally and spiritually.
Go on, Stella.
Because if you look at the ladies that's on this call tonight, and normally we have it, you ladies are some very sharp ladies. You know, you ladies are doing it and doing it well. You know, and I can see where some guys would try if they hitched their wagon up to you, if they weren't straight, they would feel intimidated a little bit.
That's the major word right there, what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
When you got a strong, independent woman that has her own, and she gets in a relationship and she's above the man or the spouse or the mate, he's a little bit intimidated because guess who has the head of the house role? You understand? So there's
Not necessarily.
wait, listen.
Okay, go ahead.
That's where the woman, as you say, toned down a little bit to give him that respect. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of females, and trust me, I know a lot of that nigga can't tell me what to do. I take that word back. That man can't tell me what to do. I got my own. I don't need him.
And the reason why I said that because the last line in this segment was spiritually. Because if you go to marriage counselor or you come to us and we talk about it, we talk about relationship dynamics, and especially when you talk about the Bible, a lot of that actually tells where the man should be the priest, the provider, protector, and all of this would be the role that he carries in that relationship. So how do you negotiate that?
Communication.
Okay. Okay, let's hear from a lady. Any ladies who want to speak to this?
I don't know how you would negotiate that, but I've been in a relationship where mine's was, he would use the term, you think you this, or you think you that, or you think you can do this, or you think it was always a negative thing, but he would tell me, you think you. But it took a long time before I realized he thought that. Not me think that, he thought that. And I would belittle myself or hold myself down for him. And I would just, oh, no. But it took a while. But after a while, it was like, oh, no. I'm not going to do this no more. I didn't think he could catch up. I thought we were mismatched. I thought I needed to move on. And it wasn't that he was a bad person or whatever. It was just that's where his mindset was and that's where he was. And he wasn't going to surpass that. So, and I wasn't going to play fiddle to that anymore. It was like, now I'm going to be me and you can't even catch my smoke because I'm gone. That's just the way it was. So that was life. So I've lived that.
And that's why go ahead. You want to say something, Ms. Kingdom, before
Yeah. In that case right there, that's where you was open-minded to grow. That's where you was trying to grow. And that's where he was stagnant. He was content. In a situation like that, there's no communication. Okay, where the communication come in, you both should be willing to grow together. It don't matter who has what, but as long as you're open-minded to grow together with the communication. That's my thought on that. And you did the right thing.
And that's why we have topics like this tonight, because we want you to see the red flags. We want you to break that cycle. We want you to realize that you don't have to stay in these relationships anymore. You don't have to fall prey to this anymore, because now you're being educated. You know what you want, you know what you're not going to take, and you know how to communicate that to the person. Hey, look, this is not healthy. This is not what I'm trying to do. This is not the relationship that I think that's healthy. This is not serving me anymore. And neither one of us are benefiting from this. And we want everybody on this call, as well as moving forward, to see where you are today. And by December, we want to get you to where you want to go in your relationships. When somebody bring that stuff, and I say IU bullshit is what they used to say. When somebody bring that to you, you can see it. You already can see it. You can say, wait, stop, this ain't gonna work. You can see it. You don't have to go through it anymore. You don't have to experience this stuff. You can get light years ahead now because you talk about it, you're exposed to it, you know it, you see it. It's easy to sniff it out now. You know what your non-negotiables are. You know what self-love and self-care is. All these things we bring up, talk about communication, all these things we bring up so you can break those cycles and you can love yourself as well as loving the other person. Because if you're going to be in a relationship, you need to grow too. You guys need to be nourishing each other and growing each other. And that's what relationship is all about. Glenda, anybody want to say anything before Glenda start closing us out? Anybody comments up? Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, it wasn't about tonight's meeting. It was about the thing in June.
Yes.
I looked at the itinerary and stuff like that. And some of the stuff I didn't quite understand. Like the different classes. There's gonna be more people that is participating than other than you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be open. It's gonna be open to the public, and everybody get to call in. The primary people are Glenn and I. Then it's gonna be the DJ. Then it's gonna be another person background working the board, because they're gonna be working the board. Because Glenn and I, we won't be working the board. We'll be doing a lot of the teaching and the coaching. And the DJ is a DJ out of DC, out of Atlanta. He's really good. As a matter of fact, they're gonna be having a club in Atlanta that's gonna be going on while we're going on. So they'll be cutting back and forth. He's gonna open it up at 4:45. It's gonna open with him, and then we're gonna take it and work with. Then he's coming back in at 9 o'clock, and it's gonna be off the chain, as they say. So what we're asking you to do is move your furniture, get your space, invite some people over, because you're going to have a great time dancing. You're going to have a ball. So this is going to be very interesting. And then plus, we've got some stuff for you in this event. In this event, we've got trivia. We've done a lot. I think we've been on here about 12, 14 months. So we've covered a lot of relationship stuff. But we have some relationship questions that we've went over majority of them, but a third of them we haven't. So we're going to see who's really in tune with relationship growing. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have fun and we're going to enjoy ourselves. All right. And the tickets are on sale already. They're they're on Eventbrite. So you go on Eventbrite and pull your ticket up and everything is there. Okay. Any additional questions?
Yeah. What ticket are we supposed to be purchasing? They got 3 different tickets out here. What's supposed to be?
Yeah, which one you want? You can the basic general admission is $49. And that's all you really need. You don't have to go no higher than that. Or if you want to go $69 have a little more perks. Each level you go up, you get more perks. And then you get t-shirts, you get t-shirts, and you get prizes and all that stuff as you go up in the ladder. The ticket,
okay.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So we're supposed to purchase through Eventbrite. Is
Yes,
that what you guys are asking us to do?
Not with us, with Eventbrite. Everything is done through Eventbrite.
All right, cool.
All right, and we'll talk next week. We'll talk more about it next week. But yeah, it's gonna be real, and we're gonna have a good time. And I'm glad you guys brought it up, because originally we were gonna do it in Florida, in Leesburg, and Leesburg is expensive this time of year, so we get to save a lot of money and time. All right, because Glenda and I went out to Leesburg and priced everything. We priced the hotels, we priced the entertainment. We went by the little mall that's right next to it. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. It's really high. All right.
Okay.
All right. Any question before Glenda turn us out or end us out?
You want to make another comment, Sharon?
Oh, no, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. And I think tonight, listen to Glenda in the chat. I think y'all did a lot in the chat tonight. I saw, because Glenda was kind of head down doing a lot of typing. So the chat must have been off the chain tonight, huh, Glenda?
Yeah, I won't say it was off the chain. It was very informative.
Okay.
The women, put their comments in there like they were supposed to. They expressed themselves like they always do.
Okay. All right. Take us home.
All right. Let me make this last comment. All right. Okay, you guys. Love isn't meant to make you question your worth. It's meant to affirm it. If someone can love your body but constantly harm your soul, that's not love. That's a transaction, and you are not a product. You are sacred. You are whole, even when you feel broken. Tonight, may this be your turning point. You deserve peace that doesn't come with apologies, joy that doesn't come with conditions, and a love that doesn't require your silence to survive. Let's break this cycle together. Everyone, nice seeing you tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, good night, everybody. See you guys next week.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Dr. Johnson.
Good night, Annette.